He gave them a choice, and that is represented by that tree. Because God was saying to them, I'm not forcing you in this thing. I'm not some kind of manipulative, tyrant, domineering father who wants to control you for my own purposes, my own evil purposes, or my own selfish purposes. I'm not that kind of God. I'm the God. And that tree is up to you whether you want me or you want something or someone else. If you do, there it is. But I'm telling you this, don't do it. Because when you do, you will die. You will die. And this is a big deal because that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what unfolded. Adam and Eve thought, maybe God doesn't have my best interest in mind. And what they did was they went to another source for satisfaction. They went to another realm for enjoyment. They said there must be something out there better or other than God. There must be something out there that can satisfy me more than God. And I'm not satisfied. It's got to be in there. It's got to be in that drink. Or in that money. Or in that food. Or in that job. Or in that group of friends. Or in that gossip. That if I gossip more, I'll get more out of life. I'll have more fun. Or whatever. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to listen to my story with the gorilla and try and determine whether eating poop was bad. Everyone knows that's bad. Everyone knows that would probably make him sick. And in fact, it could even kill him if he continued that process. What are the areas in your life where you are much closer to that gorilla than you'd like to be? Or maybe than you think. What are the areas in your life where you are looking at that thing and God is saying, don't. That thing is going to kill you. Maybe for some of you it's money and stuff. And you're convinced that the more things you get, the more stuff you accumulate, the more satisfied you're going to be. And God is saying to you this morning, that is killing you. That journey, your desire for things is killing you. But you just keep eating. Maybe for you it's sex. Maybe it's as simple as flirting. Where you know that the Word of God says that God has one man for you if you're a woman. And God has one woman for you if you're a man. But there's something inside you that says, you know, this flirting thing is fun. And I get satisfaction out of getting that guy's attention or getting that girl's attention. So for you it's flirting. Maybe it's a step higher. Maybe it's pornography. Maybe those images on the internet are captivating your mind, and every time you come by one of them, you say, oh my. Click. 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 God's saying, that's killing you. Or maybe it's masturbation. Yes, we can talk about masturbation in church because it's real. And maybe some of you are engaging in that, and it's killing you. But you won't stop. Because you're convinced that you're going to be satisfied. Maybe it's full-on sexual encounters with other men and other women. Or maybe for you, it's gossip. Maybe your life, you feel that you'll be more satisfied if you talk about other people. and you're talking about other people, and the Word of God couldn't be more clear how much He hates your gossip with an absolute burning passion. But you will not stop because you're convinced that that is going to bring satisfaction and wholeness and peace to your life. So you just keep gossiping, and God's saying, that's killing you, and you're killing my children. Maybe it's friends. Maybe there's a group of friends that you're thinking in your mind, if I can be friends with them, or if I can get them to like me, I'll be more satisfied. And God's saying to you, that group of friends is killing you. And you're selling out. And you're going to compromise your Christian walk. You're going to compromise the Word of God because you're convinced that that group of friends is going to satisfy you. I want to tell you a story. The church I grew up in, spent a lot of years of my life. The pastor, his name is Pastor Dave. Pastor Dave supports this church. Pastor Dave and his church pray for this church. They support this church. He's a great guy. His church is right in Indiana, about 3.5 hours away from here. Pastor Dave had one member of his church who was a pilot, an airplane pilot. And his airplane pilot congregation member comes up to him and says, "Hey, Pastor," he says, "you ever flown in a cockpit before in a plane?" And my pastor, Dave, says, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Well, I'd like to take you. I've got a plane. I want you to meet me at this time at this place at the airport, and I'm going to take you up there, and I'm going to teach you how to fly." That day comes around, and Pastor Dave gets in the plane. His pilot member gets in the cockpit, and he begins to explain to him these different instruments. He begins to say, "This is what you do to start the engine. You need to push this button, you need to push this button, and here's how you pull back on the throttle. Here's how you pull back on the steering wheel." He was explaining to him how to take off, how to fly the plane. And it was fun. My pastor Dave was enjoying it. They get up in the air, they're flying around, and he's explaining these different dimensions of flying to him, and all of a sudden, they end up flying in the clouds, in the thick, milky white, pasty clouds, the kind of clouds where if you've ever been in them, which I've been in before, you can't see anything but cloud. Nothing but cloud. And Pastor Dave noticed that the pilot kept looking down at this one instrument, this one gauge. He kept flying, looking down, flying, looking down, flying, looking down. Pastor Dave said, "Well, if you don't mind me asking, what is that? You haven't explained to me that what you're doing. What are you looking at?" And the pilot said, "Oh, sorry. Actually, do you know what? Maybe you didn't know that every single year, many pilots crash and burn because they do not look at that gauge.